Everyone is saying that Fortnite is dying, but here's the question: why are millions of people still playing it? In just the past month, Epic reduced V-Bucks but kept the same price, mass layoffs of Epic Games, player count dropping, and the community is actually started to panic. And it feels like everything is really going downhill. But what actually led to this? I love this game, but it doesn't mean I'm going to ignore its problems. So let's be honest, what is really happening to Fortnite right now, and it's actually that bad? Let's jump into it. Let's start from the very beginning. If we go back to 2017, when Epic Games first introduced the Battle Royale mod in Fortnite, a genre that was only just starting to grow. But here's the thing, even back then it wasn't perfect. The game was still raw, a lot of bugs, very limited movement, Season 7 Infinite Blade, a sword that completely broke the game, Season 10 The Brood, no comments needed. But at the same time, in 2019, the World Cup with a $30 million prize pool and 250 million registered accounts. At the end of Chapter 1, Season 10, the Black Hole event, Fortnite literally disappeared for 2 days, and a lot of people genuinely thought this was the end. But it wasn't. New chapter, new map, and the hype was back. But the season lasted 128 days, the longest season in Fortnite history. It got delayed multiple times, barely any content, and once again, Fortnite is dying. But then, quarantine, everyone is grinding Fortnite, and Chapter 2 Season 2 became one of the best seasons ever. But still, no World Cup, no LAN tournaments, everything online. 2021 same thing, players start leaving. 2022 LAN comes back, but some organizations are already gone. And here's what matters. Despite all of this, the player base always held strong. And the biggest spike happening in 2023, when Fortnite broke back Chapter 1. That day 44.7 million players logged in, breaking all records. 100 million unique players in a single month, and total account reached 650 million. That was Fortnite's peak, but it wasn't the only moment. There were also live events. Travis Scott 12 million, Galactus 15 million, 2024 around 14, end of 2025 already 10. Fortnite has always had a strong player base, even with all its problems. So if Fortnite was never perfect and still kept growing, why is it only now that everyone say it's dying? Well, if we're talking about Fortnite's player count, yeah, it dropped. According to stats, in 2025, Battle Royale games overall lost about 27% of player time, and Fortnite around 29%. Yeah, that's not great, but it's not critical either. Player count always goes up and down, that's normal. For example, 2023 average was 1.7 million, 2024 1.6 million, 2025 around 1.2 million, 2026 still early to say, but roughly 1 million. And if you compare Fortnite to other Battle Royales, it still outperforms that without any problem. And even across all games, having around 1 million average players is still huge. But then the real question is, what changed and why did the player count actually start dropping? If we go back to the main topic of the video, is Fortnite dying or is it changing? So what does that or this change actually mean? Let's go back to Chapter 1. On December 30, 2018, Epic introduced Creative Mode, and it was a huge moment. Everyone jumping into it, you could finally create whatever you want. And for years, nothing really changed on a global level. The game was simple. Battle Royale, simple creative maps, save the world. That's it. But on March 22nd, 2023, everything changed. Epic released Unreal Editor for Fortnite, or just UEFN, Creative 2.0. So what's the difference? In Creative 1.0 you could make simple maps. In 2.0 you can build almost an entire game. The engine Unreal Engine 5, way more possibilities, and then Epic announces something huge. They will pay creators 40% of their revenue, and that was a very risky move, the move that changed the game. The same year they also added multiple new mods, Lego Fortnite, Rocket Racing, Fortnite Festival, in 2024 Ballistics, Fall Guys, Reload and more. They even brought back Fortnite OG permanently. But here's the real question, what went wrong? Because this is where the problem starts. Fortnite is no longer just a Battle Royale. At first nothing seemed wrong, but around 2024 something started to change. Fortnite slowly began turning into Roblox. Back then, people didn't talk about it much, everything felt under control. But now, in 2026, everyone is talking about it. So why? Because now a lot of players log into Fortnite without even touching Battle Royale. They play different maps and mods that feel very similar to Roblox, and honestly I don't think that's a bad thing. In fact, it's actually cool. The game becomes more diverse, it attracts new players, and people with different interests can all play the same game. But the problem isn't that. The real problem is this. Epic Games is paying way too much money to creators. Recently, they even added the ability to make in-game purchases inside maps using V-Bucks. And here's the crazy part. Epic pays 100% of the revenue until 2027. After that, 50%. Over the last 3 years, Epic has paid out $722 million to UEFN creators. And because of that, it feels like more attention is going into UEFN than into the core Battle Royale. And the one of biggest examples is the map called Steal the Brain Rot. Yeah, it's basically one-to-one copy from Roblox, but licensed and no scams. And right now it's the most popular map in Fortnite. Sometimes it even has more players than multiple core mods combined. And its peak, over 1 million players. Just to join things like admin abuse events. People are literally treating it like Roblox. And this isn't a one-time spike. And just to be clear, the problem isn't maps like Steal the Brain Rot themselves. If players enjoy it, that's fine. The real problem is how Epic is prioritizing this system over the core game. Because right now it feels like the core Battle Royale is no longer the priority. But here the thing gets messy. Because there are tons of other creators doing something completely different. They copy the same maps 10-20 times, use free V-Bucks as clickbait, sometimes even bought their player count, and they still make money. And this is where everything starts leading to the real issue. If you look at what's been happening in Fortnite over the last month, it's only hard to even describe. I think you already know. On March 10, Epic announced that V-Bucks prices are going up starting next season. And the reason? The cost of running Fortnite has gone up a lot of we're raising prices to help pay the bills. Before 1000 V-Bucks cost $9, now for the same price you only get 800. In the battle pass from 1500 down to 800. But is it really that bad? Everything will be fine, but the community completely lost it. There was even a boycott on Twitter, tons of people were spamming. Don't play Fortnite on March 19. And yeah, this isn't something unique. Other games have also increased prices for in-game currency, not just Fortnite. I personally kind of ignored it, just like some others, because this does happen. Yeah, it feels really bad, but does it make the game dead? I don't think so. But then, just a few days later, something happened that actually pushed everyone over the edge. On March 24, Epic announced, or more specially, the CEO Tim Sweeney wrote, "Today we're laying off over 1000 Epic employees. I'm sorry we're here again. The downturn in Fortnite engagement that started in 2025 means we're spending significantly more than we're making." This tweet got over 30 million views in just 2 days. Right under the post, the comments instantly flew in. You paid UEFN creators more than $720 million, but then claim you don't have money to pay your own employees and developers? You guys have no shame. There were thousands of comments like this, and almost all of them saying the same thing. But the craziest part was the reaction from the actual employees. One of them, Evan. He worked at Epic for almost 9 years and was responsible for the technical side of the game optimization, major rare events and a lot of competitive systems. Evan wrote, "I'm genuinely so confused. I spent the past week debugging the rivalry system while recovering from pneumonia. And in the past few days I had multiple directions tell me how much they appreciate everything I do. I have done so much for this company. So many late nights, weekends, events, solid performance reviews, how critical I am and what an impact I make. Just to be thrown out. I don't get it." This post got 11 million views and over 120,000 likes. For example, Race Hub wrote, "I recently heard an Epic employee say, if Evan isn't working on it, it's not important. I genuinely can't believe this. But that's not all. Here's something else that's crazy. They even laid off the person who created Jonesy, the face of Fortnite. Its symbol." Epic also noted that they are stopping support for mods like rocket racing, ballistic and other mods completely. Typical Gamer and his team Jogo even offered to buy one of the mods to keep developing it and support the community. Tim Sweeney responded by saying that Epic is now focused on improving UEFN tools so that anyone can create these kinds of experience themselves and even make them better than Epic did before. and more people are starting to say the same thing. Fortnite is trying to become Roblox. Even big streamers stop trying to be new Roblox and stick to just being Fortnite. So, what are the actual conclusions? On one hand, Fortnite is still huge, but on the other, even the developers themselves admit their problems. But does it mean the game is dying? I don't think so, it's just changing. And to me, it feels like Fortnite is trying to become something like Roblox 2.0. The main problem, huge spending on UEFN, over $722 million in just 3 years. Another issue, too many collaborations. They make money and attention while the community is waiting for improvements to Battle Royale, not just new skins. Every game goes through hard times, and right now it's one of those times for Fortnite. I don't want to judge whether Epic is right or wrong, because as regular players we don't see everything, but as a player I see where this is going. And the fact is, more and more people are saying the same thing. The game is moving towards Roblox, and the Battle Royale is no longer the main focus. Right now Fortnite is still alive. The game still gets regular updates, new season, events still happen, not as often, but they're there. New items, new location, new maps every year, mods, mechanics, all of that. Competitive Fortnite is still alive and active, and the player count is basically really good. Even if it's not at its peak. I like Fortnite the way it is. Yeah, the game is losing money. Yeah, it's not always moving in the direction we want, but it's definitely not going to die. And the community plays a huge role in all of this. If players ignore the problems and stay silent, nothing will change. But if the community is active, it can actually make a difference in the game. That's why we speak up, because we actually care, because we want this game to be better. No one can influence a game more than its own community. The only thing that matters, don't stay quiet. Speak up. I really love Fortnite, that's why I talk about this openly. I'm not hating and I'm not ignoring real problems. I just want the game to stay the best. If you care about where Fortnite is going, write in the comments what you think about all of this. Subscribe, there's a lot of more coming, and I'll see you in the next videos. Peace.